Hello friends, subscribers and new viewers of this channel, and welcome to Machine Learning and AI Tutorials. Those of you who are my subscribers and who follow my channel know very well by now that I like to cover and explain how to install and run locally free and open source large language models. So far, I made only several tutorials about OpenAI, and the main reason is that in order to use the full functionality of OpenAI ChatGPT models, you need to pay some membership or you have to pay some monthly fee. Well, that's not completely true. In fact, OpenAI ChatGPT models have a free API key that has certain rate limitations. So, in this tutorial, we explain how to create a free OpenAI API key and how to write a simple Python script that will use this API key to interact with the ChatGPT and similar models from a local computer. So here is the explanation to people who are completely new to AI. What is, for example, an API key? Well, in order to use OpenAI Large Language Models or LLMs in Python, you need to create an OpenAI Application Programming Interface or API key. The API key is a password that you need to enter in your program in order to be able and use OpenAI software that are run on OpenAI cloud servers. OpenAI provides different versions of API keys. There is a free version which will be used in this tutorial. This free version has rate limitations, and these rate limitations, if I'm not wrong, are 3 requests per minute and a rate limit on the number of tokens. That is, you cannot use this large language model frequently or ChatGPT frequently. You can, for example, send 3 times a minute a request. For most users, this is enough, because most users will not pass 3 rate limits per minute. Now, for users who want to develop their own AI agent, that might be a limitation because sometimes you cannot control how many times an AI agent will access ChatGPT and the free API, and then you might get some rate errors. However, I don't think that OpenAI ChatGPT license or access is too expensive. I think it's, maybe $20 or something like that. Okay, so here's a brief demonstration of a Python script that I wrote that's used to interact with ChatGPT OpenAI models. First of all, I created an OpenAI API key, and I will explain that later on. And over here you can see the code, and over here in the code you can ask the question over here, solve a quadratic equation or any other question, and you can also embed this chat completion or this request in, for example, a graphics user interface by using Streamlit or by using any other program. And then after we send the request over here, the model, actually our computer, will communicate this information to the OpenAI server. The OpenAI server will call the model, and the model will return the answer, and the answer will be stored in chat _completion, and over here I'm simply printing the result. Okay, so let's exit this simple code, and over here let's execute this code and let's see the answer. Let's see what will happen, and here is the answer. To solve the quadratic equation, here it is, and here is the solution. That's it. And of course you can, for example, render a LaTeX display of this nice answer. That's it. Okay, so let's immediately start. The first step is to create an OpenAI account and to generate a free OpenAI API key. To do that, open Google or a favorite web browser and search for OpenAI API login. Then click over here, and then over here you can sign up and create an account, or if you already have an account, simply log in, enter your email address, then over here you need to continue. Then you need to set or enter your password. So let me enter my password. If I remember it correctly, click on continue. And let's see what happens. Now you will get basically an email with the code to log in. And here I'm going to enter the code. It is 087950. Of course, you cannot use my code. And here I will log in. And over here you have two options. You can either log in into ChatGPT, which will enable you to interact with the model online, or you can click here on API, and over here you need to generate your API key. To do that, click here on Quick Start, and over here you have this option to create an API key in the dashboard here. So click here, then click here, create a new key, call it, for example, test2, and create secret key, and the key will be generated. And then you can simply copy this key, make sure that you copy it, and I'm going to save it somewhere over here. Let me just put it here. Of course, you cannot use my API key since I'm going to deactivate it after creating this video tutorial. The next step is to explain how to write a Python code that will set the API and that will interact with the online server. Okay, so let's learn how to do that. Click here and start a terminal. And over here, resize this terminal window. Here are the commands that I will type. First of all, make sure that you go to the home folder. Then in the home folder, make a folder called, for example, test OpenAI, and over here navigate to this folder. Okay, now the next step is to verify your current Python version, so type this. Now most likely, since your Linux Ubuntu system, you need to type this, and you will see something like this, Python 3.12 or Python 3.10, depending on which system you are. Okay. The next step is to create a Python virtual environment such that we can create a Python code for interacting with the model. Here, first of all, you need to install this command that will enable you to create the model. And over here, you need to type Python and you need to specify the Python version. In my case, it's 3.12. And type this and adjust over here for your version if your version is different. And then let's create a virtual environment by running this command. And finally, let's activate the Python virtual environment by running this command. Okay, next, we need to install the necessary libraries. First of all, we need to install the API library. That is, we need to write pip install OpenAI, and this will install the library for interacting and writing Python code to interact with ChatGPT models. So run this command. And after that, you need this library which will enable you to properly set up and run and read, better to say, environment variables. Namely, I will explain you the importance of this library in a moment. Okay, so let's install this library and that's it. The next step is to create a configuration file. In that configuration file, we will need to specify and set the OpenAI key. And in order to do that, we need to call the file as .env. And this is the requirement set by this library python.env. So let's create this file. Here I'm calling the nano editor. And over here we need to set the OpenAI key. So type this, capital open underscore under API underscore key, and over here you need to paste the API key you just created. So simply paste the key, then to exit press Ctrl O to save, press enter, and Ctrl X to completely exit. And let's list over here and let's see the file. Here it is. And the final step is to write the Python code. To do that, you can use your favorite Python editor. In my case, I'm just going to use Nano editor that comes with every Linux distribution. Okay, so over here, I'm going to simply paste the code that I wrote previously, and I'm going to explain it line by line. First of all, we need to import OS, and this is a library for interacting with operating system and with the command line. And from OpenAI, we need to import this OpenAI API. Then from .environment, we need to import load.environment such that we can load the environment variables defined in the file .env, and we do it over here. Then over here, we define a client, we call OpenAI API, we specify the API key, we call os.environment.get, and over here we are getting this key that actually is specified in the .environment file. And over here we define a request to the remote server. We specify the message. Our message is to be user, and here's the content, how to solve a quadratic equation. And over here you specify a model. Here I'm going to use GPT-4o mini. There are also other models which are also completely free and can be accessed with this free API. I think GTP 3.5 as well as some other models such as O1 mini are free. However, you can play with this model for the time being. And over here you're simply printing the response you call chat completion. That is the structure that is returned by the server. You specify choices 0, you specify message and specify content, and this will print the message. So save this file by pressing Ctrl O, press enter, then Ctrl X to exit, and over here we simply need to execute the file. Let's make sure that the file is here it is, and to execute the file simply type this thing and bang, and let's now wait and see what will happen. And here it is. Here is our answer. So to solve the quadratic equation, this equation, we can factor the left-hand side of the equation, and you can see over here even the procedure, and then later on you can even use Streamlit or some other application to nicely display this in a graphics user interface. And I created a separate video tutorial on how to do that. Okay, that's all for today. I hope that you like this video. If you like the videos I'm creating, please press the like and subscribe buttons, and see you in the next video tutorial.